Storage Rebels, what is going on? Mike Wagner checking in. I've got a rare moment of quiet as two of my kids are at school and one is at Grandma and Grandpa's. And so I wanted to take this opportunity because I don't know when I'll have another one to talk to you about something very important. My son is obsessed with these books. They were called Who Would Win? And this particular one is the Komodo Dragon versus King Cobra. My guess is you don't care about that at all. And that's why I'm doing my own special edition, which is the self-storage versus house flipping versus apartment rentals. And all of these have their benefits, just like in this book here. You know, the King Cobra and the Komodo Dragon both have awesome weapons that they could use in a fight against one another. And so we're going to use that framework and just talk very quickly about some of the differences between self-storage, house flipping, and apartment rentals. Again, they can all be used to make money. I'm not dogging. You guys know I'm biased towards self-storage. I'm not in any way saying that house flipping and apartment rentals can't be used to make money, create wealth, establish cash flow, all of those things. I just thought it'd be cool to put them up against one another and really examine some of the pros and cons of each. So here's the deal. Self-storage, as you guys have known, if you've watched all my videos, I'm insanely biased toward it because it's been so good to me. We've built over a portfolio worth over $4.5 million using storage. And that was after I had tried the apartment rentals thing and even flipping a couple of houses. And my house flips, and this isn't to say that you can't make money in it, but my house flips didn't make me enough money by the time I was done for it to be worth selling them. So I ended up being a landlord. This was back in 2007, 2008, and you know how that story goes. But here's the thing, and this above all else, I'm not going to get into all the nuanced details between the different strategies, but first and foremost, self-storage combines what I think are the two best pieces of house flipping and apartment rentals. With house flipping, you can create a whole bunch of equity, right? You buy an undervalued asset, just like we do in the storage world, except in this case, it's a house. You spruce it up, sometimes with what they call, putting lipstick on a pig and just doing carpet and paint. Other times, more involved construction to change a floor plan, open up a space, and really increase the value. Then you sell it and you make a boatload of money, which is great. And people do it all the time. There's a million HGTV shows all about it. So clearly it can work. It's not quite as easy as they show on TV, but it can work. The challenge is once you've done that and you've made your money, if you want any more money, you got to go do it again, right? That's kind of the one downside to flipping is it's not residual in nature. Sure, you can build a business and implement systems that might help to that, but you still have to if you want to make more money, you got to flip another house. It's just that simple. And so oftentimes house flippers will start to incorporate some apartment rentals into their investing strategies as a way to create residual income. The idea being, of course, that you can make money, quote unquote, while you sleep. And that's not necessarily true, but what you can do is do some work up front and then get paid month after month, right? You only have to fix the apartment up one time, screen the tenant one time, and then likely they will pay you, if you've screened properly, for several months thereafter, and maybe even years if you're really good. And of course, that's the idea. And so that's the residual nature of apartments. And again, it's a huge benefit to that type of investing, and that's where I started. What I found, though, was the margins were a little slim. Even when we bought right, about half of our money was going out the window each month to operating expenses. In the storage world, we've got a much lower expense ratio where only 30 cents of each dollar goes out for day-to-day operating expenses, which lets us keep more of the money. So long story short, when you buy an underperforming self-storage facility the way that I recommend, you're buying the ugly house and you're fixing it up just like you would if you were flipping a house, except it's not a house, it's a storage facility. And instead of doing tons of construction physical work, more often than not, it's operational in nature. Now, if you've seen my videos, you know that I take on some construction projects too, and mostly that's because they're fun and I enjoy them now, but it's a get to, not a have to. You certainly can find properties that don't need tons of physical work. They just need a managerial or operational overhaul. And so instead of fixing a house with paint and carpet. You're fixing a storage facility by implementing management systems. And in doing so, you increase the cash flow. Now, the beautiful thing is, by doing this, you create that residual income. And now the storage facility kicks out money every month as good or far more often better than apartment rentals would. And here's the kicker, because storage is valued based on the income, you've also created a boatload of equity the way you would if you were flipping a house, right? You bought a facility, let's say for 50 cents on the dollar, you implement your systems, you get it from 50% full up to 90% full, and now it's worth maybe double what you paid for it. You've just made a boatload of equity, call it $400,000 or $500,000 in equity over the course of a year or two, maybe three, depending. And you've got this massive income stream in the form of monthly cash flow that you get to collect. Now you can decide to keep it and enjoy that residual income for the long haul, or you can sell it to recoup your equity and then repeat the process. Again, you're getting the equity windfall that you would get with house flipping and the monthly cash flow that you would get with apartment rentals, and you're only doing one deal. And oftentimes these deals are large enough where, I've been doing this 8 or 9 years and I'm only on deal number 5 so far. Certainly you could move faster than that, but I prefer to cherry pick only the best deals. And I do a low volume, high margin investing strategy where we make, generally speaking, $1 million or more per deal. Some of them have been smaller. I've got one small one in North Carolina where we'll only make a couple $100,000, but that had some construction elements and a forest to knock down that I really enjoyed being a part of. So it had some ancillary benefits outside of just straight cash. So all that being said, I hope it makes sense. Clearly, as you probably knew before I even started the video, when we answer the question, who would win, self-storage versus house flipping versus apartment rentals, I'm going to always defend self-storage as being the best, simply because I think it has underlying fundamentals that make it a stronger investment, and that bears itself out in the statistics that we see, in default rates, the income to expense ratio, all of these things that I'm not going to belabor. So take that for what it's worth, guys. I hope you found this valuable, and I look forward to seeing you next time.